Things start normally picking up at this time of the season, as we enter a second episode of reviews. And as is such, I'm reviewing 4 more new shows today. How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? Demon Lord Retry? If It's For My Daughter, I'd Even Defeat a Demon Lord, and Wasteful Days of a High School Girl. But what did I make of these shows, and should you give a damn? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you today. So join me, because as ever, this is a 2019 summer anime preview, from a different perspective. How heavy are the dumbbells you lift? Well, if you've seen my paunch in front of me, not heavy at all, because I'm not one for weight training. And so when I say this anime, I think, okay, a weight training anime. Not really meant for me. Until I see it's by Doga Kobo, and then I think, yeah, this one's for me. Because how heavy are the dumbbells you lift, or dumbbells, I'm just going to carry on calling it now, isn't about weights. It's about cute girls doing weighty things. And it's about much more than that. It's about comedy. Well, it's very comedic anyway, because in the first episode, so many random, insane things happen. But I'm getting too far ahead of myself there. Let's talk about our main character, Hibiki Sakura. A girl who thinks she's fat, she's not. She's got the classic anime body. Apparently she wants to lose weight because she's got a shape to her. There's nothing wrong with that shape. She doesn't look obese in any way. But getting healthy is always good. And of course her best friend is egging on about it. And so, being a creature of habit, she randomly finds a flyer being handed out for a weight training academy. And she goes to a gym where she meets up with a student council president, Akemi Soyun. And Akemi is, well, if you've seen Please Tell Me Galka-chan, she's basically Ojo. Ojo with a huge, huge muscle fetish. I mean, when I say fetish, I'm not just talking lightly. She goes all heart to me eyes whenever she sees muscles. She doesn't go to this gym to train her body, she goes to a gym to train her libido. Unlike Hibiki, who was originally going to quit the gym, but stays there because there's a cute guy there. A cute guy who just happens to be absolutely ripped. Not that she can tell to begin with, because when he's wearing his jersey, it just looks like a reasonably attractive guy. When he removes his jersey, in the first episode not so much by removing it, by bursting out of it, he looks like a ginormous muscle-bound bodybuilder with a tiny anime head in his body. It's kind of ridiculous. But this really plays out kind of like one of those short anime where they've got a thing they want to sell. Places they want you to go, or food they want you to eat. But it knows it's doing that. It plays up to that joke. It has sort of sexy examples about how to use certain equipment or how to do certain squats. But it does so in a tongue-in-cheek way, and it was very self-aware of what it's doing. It's a pretty well-written anime, actually. The main girls are all attractive. The main guy is interesting, and he feels his job as both comic relief and pushing the story along. It'll be interesting to see how they go. This is yet another surprise to me when I see an anime about something I've got no interest in. And after watching it, I probably won't do it anyway. But it makes an interesting subject at least. So, just how heavy are the dumbbells you can lift? Well, despite all the jokes I've been making before the season, these girls most definitely aren't dumbbells. But I will be lifting the episode to the top of my watch list. You can find this one at Funimation. If there's one thing we need more of this world, it's anime about being transported into a game world. Or into any other world for that matter. There's nowhere near enough of them on TV. Welcome to the world of Demon Lord Retry. Because there have been so many bad adaptations of anime where the main character becomes a Demon Lord in another world, people decided it wanted to retry it. And retry it did, with a complete original premise of a middle-aged guy playing in an online game and getting transported into its world. Hands up if you've seen that one before. But it just so happens that Akira, the main character, is actually the creator of this online world. He's not just a random player. And he decided to play it a little bit because it is closing its servers. The game is ending, it is ceasing to be. And so it's sort of like a sad disappearance. It actually reminds me a lot of Overlord in that matter. The way that it's a lone player playing a game which everyone else has abandoned. Yeah, he plays a game and finds himself in his game world, but not as himself. As a long-haired, rough-looking, effectively Yakuza boss. He becomes the character Hakuto Kunai, and is immediately faced with a big burly monster attacking a little girl. So he does what anyone would do and steps in and saves her, destroys the monster in one hit, and she's very happy. Although she's also very scared to be confronted by something stronger than a demon. So she ends up calling him Maou-sama, Demon Lord. And thus, we got the Demon Lord aspect of the show. The little girl is actually called Aku, and I have to say, she's adorable. But the moment I see a little girl like that in an anime like this, my mind immediately starts raising alarm bells. This cannot be good. But rest assured, it's not bad. There's many different ways they could have gone with this anime, and thankfully they didn't go the way which you're probably expecting it to go. There's no real ick here at all. It's sweet, heartwarming, middle-aged guy with effectively his daughter. Well, that's why I'm seeing a relationship to begin with. It's just an old burly guy with a little girl. Because that never looked suspicious before, has it? Not much actually happens in this first episode. I mean, there's a hint of storyline as he gets given a bizarre ring by some mysterious wish giver, and that bizarre ring tries to tell him to destroy everyone. He resists and ends up burning the village down anyway. And so he and Aku walk off into a sunset. Well, Hakuto does. Aku is riding on his back. As I said, there's not really much to go by in this show. It's one episode and not much happens. But so far it's given me good first impressions. If you did want to watch this one's airing over at Funimation. The next show does away with the whole transported to another world aspect and just presents us an anime in a fantasy world in general. I have to give them props for moving away from the harsh stereotype of bad writing of I want to create a human character who everybody relates to, but I want to do a fantasy light novel. Well, if you want to do a fantasy light novel, just do one. You don't have to make it another world anime. Just write an interesting main character from that other world, which thankfully in If It's For My Daughter I'd Even Defeat a Demon Lord has done. And bloody hell, that title. If It's For My Daughter I'd Even Defeat a Demon Lord. Again, like the last one, hear that title, alarm bells start going off. This cannot be wholesome. Demon Lords, kids, never really go together. Well, except in the last one, which apparently it did. And you know what? Except in this one as well. Because Latina, the main female character, the daughter, is absolutely adorable. In terms of anime kids, she's really up there with Samugi from Sweetness and Lightning, and Rin from Bunny Drop, before the bunny was dropped. But what is Daughter Demon Lord actually about? I mean, I've no idea what to shorten it to begin with. And let me know in the comments what I should shorten it to. Not that I really need to shorten it after this. But yeah, the main character is not Latina. It's actually her adoptive father, Dale. An adventurer by trade who, one day adventuring, happens upon a kid. A demon kid. With one of her horns broken. Now, apparently in demon lore, if you got a horn broken, it's a sign you're a criminal. Because they break the horns of criminals to signify them as criminals. And her horn is broken, so what crime has she done? He finds out that her father's died in the forest, and she's now all alone. And so, being a nice guy, he takes her home. Gives her a bath, introduces her to the people who he lives with. Well, he's renting an attic in a pub, basically. And everybody just loves her. Latina is absolutely adorable, and I can't stress it enough. Again, it's not too much happening in this first episode. It's introducing us to Latina, to Dale, to the pub staff, Kenneth and Rita, and to the entire premise of an adventurer adopting a daughter. I'd probably adopt her as well. And if it was for her, I too would probably defeat a demon lord. Well, probably die trying, but yeah. I can't stress this enough. You need to watch this one. Even if you've got a heart of steel and do not like smiling, watch it. It's airing over at Crunchyroll. How can my next show be any different? Very easily. Because it's about the wasteful days of high school girls. In an anime called Wasteful Days of High School Girl. It's about a trio of girls who have known each other as kids. They hang out together, but don't really do much. And it's just about a steady daily life in school. And not much happens. I mean, it's a comedy anime to begin with. And a lot of humour is just about the interaction between the three girls. I mean, if you watched Asabe Asabase when it aired, it's similar in premise to that. In fact, you've got three girls just hanging around chatting. But its delivery is a bit different. Whereas Asabe Asabase was very much crude humour. This one is just laid-back conversational humour. One of the main jokes in the first episode is about coming up with nicknames for people. About how our main character, Nozomu, just nicknames everybody on the fly. Just comes up with a nickname, no matter how insulting, and calls them. You got a best friend, Akane, who is a bit of an otaku, so she's nicknamed Wota. You got the other friend, Shiori, who is a bit quiet, is a bit unemotional, so she's nicknamed Robo. You got a short girl, Saku, Lolly. You've got the chuny girl, Minami, Yamai. And you got the calculated girl, Kanade, who's called Majime. So calculating girl, she's literally running around listening to stocks all day. And then of course you got their teacher, who's nicknamed Waseda, purely simply because he prefers college girls. He's got no interest in these high school girls at all. Shigure, he isn't. And he looks a bit of a loser, to be honest, but fair play to him, he's interested in college girls. And you may be thinking, but Fudge, you missed out one of the characters, you missed out the main character's name. I have, yes. That's part of one of the jokes in the anime. Watch it to find out. And there's not really much I can really say about this one. I mean, it's sort of slice of life, comedy, and the humour's right there and then. I mean, it had me laughing out loud quite a lot in the first episode. And for an anime to get me to laugh out loud like that so hard, it has to be funny, and not in a peculiar fashion. Although this one was plenty peculiar as well. If you do fancy watching The Wasteful Days of a High School Girl, you can find this one over at High Dive. I'm heavily at risk here of being very positive, especially after watching those 4 new shows. I doubt that can continue into the next episode, but who knows. You'll just have to watch and find out, won't you? So thank you guys for watching, have a wonderful day, bye bye.